are back. Thank you for staying with us. If you're just joining, you are right on time for the first conversation of the day. But I must admit that you missed some good conversation between me and Sakura. So now we're going to have a conversation around what has been happening in the political space right here in Kenya. And for that, we have been joined by two people in the political space. That is Patrick Owino, also known as the Monk. He's on the right side. He's the chairperson of Nairobi University Science Students, and right next to him in the blue suit is David Mwangi, also known as Davy Pack. He is the School of Physical Science representative, Chiromo campus. Karibuni sana, gentlemen. Glad to have you.
Thank you very much.
All right, let me start with you. Patrick has been here before, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So maybe you can remind us, tell us a little bit about yourself. Who is Patrick? What are you famously known for?
Okay, I'm Patrick Owino, famously known as the Monk. I'm a student at University of Nairobi. I'm a scientist, doing Bachelor of Science, Chemistry and Mathematics as a course, meaning I'm a scientist by profession. I'm from Siaya County. Yeah, and from Babas region. And again, I do politics in campus, and currently I'm the chairman for Nairobi University Science Students.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you are in leadership.
I am in leadership.
Okay, great. Yeah. And now, you, the Monk, we know that. Are you a monk?
Yeah, actually, I'm a monk.
What do you mean? How?
Okay,
how?
okay. In 2016, that's when I got interested in the life of monkhood. And then I got the name the Monk. So when I joined the school on 2020, I wanted the monk people to know that I am a monk. And then in the space of campus, it became now like a nickname. And people now know that there's somebody called the Monk.
The Monk.
Yeah, I'm a real monk, but we know the Monk.
So you are a real monk.
I'm a real monk.
What is the? I don't diverting a bit. Like, what if for someone who's just hearing the monk for the first time? Like, what is the lifestyle of the monk?
Okay, the lifestyle of a monk is a celibacy.
Yeah. Like, are you for real?
Okay, Stephanie, what is the expectation about the monk?
No, I know the life of a monk. They usually, my own understanding of a monk, they're usually in some area from the movies that I've watched, you know, in a secluded area. They usually dress a certain way, and I understand they also just join people in marriage somehow, you know. Yeah. But
a monk is an English word. And they can be defined like somebody living in celibacy. So it depends with the nativity where you come from. But now we're in Kenya. You know, talk about a Chinese monk, where they stay somewhere in that.
Yeah.
But now I'm in the University of Nairobi, I'm a student. I cannot be excluded from others. Yeah.
So you have to stay with them.
I have to stay with us. I have to cope with them, dress like them.
So you do not plan on marrying at any point in your life?
No, it's only because I don't hear.
We will revisit that. We will revisit that. Let me come back to what we're discussing today. To you, Davy, tell us about yourself. What are you famously known for?
All right. My name is David Mwangi, student in the Faculty of Science and Technology, taking Bachelor of Science in Statistics. So I am an expectant statistician. I am a student leader, head of Physical Sciences, Chiromo, and my recognition name is Davy Park. Yeah, don't ask about the origin of that name, because I also don't know. Yeah.
Okay, you're not, you are planning to get married, right?
Yeah, I'll get married.
Okay, great. Now, looking at the space, the political space in Kenya, or the atmosphere that we are currently in, what is your take? Let me start with you, Patrick, and then I come to you, David.
Stephanie, the current political space in Kenya is a bit confusing. Yeah, because
also
the way we are seeing things going, I want to say that there's a lot of derogation in terms of political analysis in Kenya, as from where the regime of Kenya Kwanza get into government. Because you get that after a period of time, Gachagua was impeached. He went away.
Yeah.
Immediately after Gachagua is out, Gachagua is making a team. He's telling people nowadays that he's meeting, he's consulting, he will be giving an announcement. The same time, you realize that recently we saw Gachagua and Karawa, like a handshake. We also saw Sifuna and Kalonzo talking somewhere, like they are supporting each other. We also saw Jubilee from their chairperson, that is Kioni. They announced that their candidate for presidency is Matiang'i. And then the same time you see on the Olekina Oldama, the X-Space or the X-Twitter, is also like opposing that. So the current political space in Kenya is really confusing. But I know these people are fighting against one thing, which we'll discuss.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right. So you have given us quite the summary of what's happening, which is quite nice. Let me hear from you, David. What do you think?
All right, I'll just back what he has said. The condition right now is discombobulating.
This what you guys are just giving us some tough names. He said this something. This okay. So break it down for us.
You know, like things are boiling.
Okay.
You find that here Gachagua is having meetings at Wamunyoro, planning for the future. You know, he was loyal to the president. He remained loyal until the end of time. And from nowhere, everything turns out against him. He's impeached. And so the bitterness causes him now to fight against the government. We've seen the negotiations of Mother Karua and the previous deputy president, Gachagua. We've seen also Jubilee, just as he has said. They are planning for the future, which is good. We are happy because there are plans for the future. It wasn't raining when Noah built the ark. So we should always plan ahead.
Right.
And also we saw that the Kenya Kwanza is worried. They are worried because they have seen other people planning ahead. I don't know whether they are not prepared or what, but the current situation is confusing.
It's confusing. So
Yeah.
that's your stand on the space you are in. Now let me ask you, Patrick. From some of the things that you have mentioned, and David has also backed up, the handshake between Gachagua and Martha Karua. What does that mean for Kenya Kwanza, or especially for Kenya Kwanza, because they are the ruling party, then government, and I know for sure that they want to, come again in 2027. So what does it mean for them and Mount Kenya? But again, when we speak about Mount Kenya, I saw a tweet somewhere, someone saying that Mount Kenya will not really be substantial in the next election. It won't really determine the results of the election come 2027. So what are your thoughts on that?
Okay, first of all, the handshake between Martha Karua and Gachagua is a stress to Kenya Kwanza regime.
How so? Why?
Because one, let's be realistic. In Kenya, if you look at the political history of Kenya, we have the majority. People who vote, people who are very loyal to who they support, people who turn out and take and at least go and register as voters. One of them, and that one even if you don't talk about it, Mount Kenya people. In that, if they can come up and have a unified factor that they are together, then they might stress the Kenya Kwanza regime to go for the second term. That is one.
Okay.
And two, I want to bring in this context that now the broad-based government, the so-called broad-based government with the Kenya Kwanza regime has now included the Azimio, part of the Azimio, not all Azimio, but part of it, that is ODM to be specific. And then now you get that the ODM has been given some specific position for cabinet secretaries. And now, like, the Kenya Kwanza regime is penetrating to Luo Nyanza. I want to assure you that we are only praying that Baba Owino loses AU. if Baba wins AU, then I tell you one thing, we are going to have a lot of connection in Africa-wise. And at least I also ask Baba that he get me some place there in Ethiopia. But if Baba loses AU, we are coming back.
So what do you mean we're coming back?
We are coming back, meaning that I know Baba will still go for this because Baba is too young.
You just said Raila is too young. So you foresee a future if he loses the AU seat that he will come to contest for the election.
That's not. You have said it.
Again.
You have said it.
I was just getting clarity. So that's okay. That's what you imagine will happen. All right.
Yeah.
We'll come back to that. To you, David. Let me ask, what do you make of this? Still, we're on the handshake. We're saying, well, we know that the DP said, the former deputy president, the ousted deputy president, Rigathi Gachagua, said that he will announce his party in January. The January has not ended yet, so maybe he's still going to announce it. But now we're seeing him and Martha Karua coming together. So probably it might be a political party that they're forming. But now, Jubilee Party has also said that they're backing Matiang'i, and Jubilee Party is almost also aligned to Mount Kenya. Right. Don't you think those are would be divided votes if Jubilee has its candidate and a party formed by Gachagua also has its candidate?
All right. Just as we've said, it's some kind of division, but we both know that Jubilee is vocal. All right. At the moment, Gachagua and the team might take it because what was done to him, the impeachment, did not please everyone in the country. A good number of people are not happy with the impeachment. It wasn't fair to him. And so because of that sympathy, he might gain popularity. You know, you said about the person who was talking about Mount Kenya being not a determinant in the forthcoming elections. Let me call that just freedom of expression. By default, Mount Kenya will always remain to be a core determinant in the elections.
Why do you think so?
You know, Mount Kenya has numbers. Take, for instance, the registered voters may lie between 10 million or so. If these people are divided, this is 5 million on this side, the other 5 million on the other side. If you are a presidential candidate, if you get 5 million, how far are you from winning? You're very close to winning. And so, no matter how the divisions will come about, there will still be a win-win. Yeah, so Ruto will still be going home.
So used to.
Yeah.
So for you, it'll still be a win, regardless of who is chosen, regardless of whether they form a different party and they have a different candidate from what Jubilee Party has proposed.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you have the same opinion, Patrick?
No. Yeah.
Tell
because the handshake of Gachagua and Karua and the Kioni, that is the Jubilee Party, taking a different direction, is a political tension within the Mount Kenya region. And this will make them not to be a core determinant of that election. You know, there's one thing that happens in the Luo Nyanza, that even Baba is saying today that let us support the dead person. Everybody will be supporting that dead person. Yeah. But you know now in Mount Kenya that doesn't happen. They don't have a specific voice to speak for them. So that means that if they are divided like that, then somebody can get, because take note that the current deputy president is also from Mount Kenya. And he might also have some numbers. Okay. So that means they are divided into 3.
So it's actually 3 now.
Now there are 3. So these 3 meaning they are not co-determinant.
Right.
Yeah, they are not.
Well, now, you have also mentioned that something that Raila, whatever he says, the people from Luo Nyanza follow. Do you think that this is still the case in Luo? Don't you feel that there's a difference, there's a change in tone of voice, especially after the Gen Z uproar, something that the Gen Z might not be as aligned to Baba as it was before, seeing that he came into the broad-based government and, you know, people feel betrayed and all that?
Mana, baba ni baba. Baba ni baba. Why am I saying this? You realize that the Gen Z was there. But immediately the broad-based government came in. The Gen Z was weakened. So I want to assure you that what Baba says, even Gen Z are very respectful. Because most of the Gen Z are learned. I'm a Gen Z. I'm a learned person. I know that you don't despise your father. So when Baba says that tunatulia, we keep. So you know, what I'm trying to say is, Raila has a lot in Kenyan politics. And in terms of controlling the tension of the country. If you get some person who had learned about Raila, Raila is the only person who can control the tension within the country. And is the one who can cause that tension. So, it's the source of security and insecurity. Only Baba. Yeah.
All right.
Yes.
I'm curious, what do you think about this, David? Do you agree that Baba is the cause of insecurity and security itself? And I must say that, just as a disclaimer, the opinions put out here are not for Y254, solely from the guest speaking. All right, David.
I'll be a bit of objective. You know, the Gen Z have this slogan that they are leaderless, they are tribeless, and they are fearless, which is very true. We are fearless. Now, but right now that Baba went against the Gen Zs, maybe in some way he lost relevance to the Gen Zs. It's true, he may speak. A lot will listen to him, but a good number will not follow what he says, because they'll just know that because it happened once. It's like, for example, let's talk of Gachagua. He was impeached. He was betrayed by the president. What if the president goes to him today and requests for partnership with him? The highest probability is he won't accept. Why? Because he was betrayed in the first time, and it can happen a second time. For the Gen Zs, we were betrayed by Baba for the first time. And I believe that, as my fellow here member said, that we are learned. We cannot repeat the same mistakes that brought us into some turmoil. We cannot. And so Raila is vocal, but I guess now not to the Gen Zs.
Not as popular.
Yeah.
So we have two learned people talking about two different things. I think now you'd agree to disagree, because now Patrick has said he's learned and he would still support Baba regardless of the situation. And you have said you are learned and you know better now, especially after the betrayal, so you would not support Baba if he were to say something. So is it the possibility that yes, Baba would have supporters, but only from Luo Nyanza, if you're speaking about Gen Z? Because we know that some of the people that have been vocal in the internet, we also have young Luo leaders who have been vocal and they are not really supporting Baba. Does that speak something about the change of tone in Luo Nyanza? And I see you're nodding a lot, so maybe we can just touch on that a bit before.
Okay, what I'm trying to imagine, that if you have a home and then you are staying in the land of your father, and then actually you've not gone out, hujaenda kujenga nje, bado unaishi kwa baba na uelewani na baba, nakwambia hiyo boma kuishi ni ngumu. So what I mean is not necessarily in Luo Nyanza, but in Kenya as a whole. In the political history of Kenya, Raila has been playing a key part. Even this freedom of expression that today is being discriminated by Kenya Kwanza government, which I'm not sorry to say that, because you realize that Baba is one of the people who fought for this. But nowadays you talk and then you get people missing. People are being abducted. People are nowhere to be seen. So meaning that people who are learned, who have been learning about the Kenyan history, know that Raila is a key in the political freedom and the political system of Kenya. That's why it has a bargaining power. Let me give you an example. Baba died in 2007. He lost the election. Came in 2013, people know that now Baba is going with God. I think you remember. He lost. People say that Baba will never support Baba again. Now when Baba came in 2017, now Baba was the best person. Until in 2017, Baba ate the Bible. Yeah. And then people thought that now this is the last one. In 2022, see, Baba was there.
Yeah.
And still people supported Baba. So meaning that even today, if Baba come back, whenever Baba, okay, Baba kikuja, anything Baba mesema, watu fine.
Right. Okay, we'll leave it at that and wait to see how that pans out. But now, we had talked about Sifuna and Kalonzo, you know, also almost coming together. What does that mean? What is it talking about? Let me ask you first.
All right. As a person from Mount Kenya, it does not alarm anything to me. It does not bring any form of worry to me. Yeah, there are some forces that you don't depend on that much. So you just see things happen and you're just silent and you're just like, let it happen.
Because it doesn't really concern you.
Yeah, it's not a huge thing. Like, you know, Kalonzo is vocal, but not to the nation. He's vocal maybe from his native home. You know, there were some allegations that Sifuna can be a traitor in some way. And so that thing of them coming together does not alarm anything. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. What do you think about it, Patrick?
It's really alarming. It's really alarming politically.
Okay, why is it alarming?
You know, as a leader and as somebody who is aspiring, even a single vote going against you should be alarming you. You know, being a senator of Nairobi County, for example, Sifuna, that person led a number of people. And these people, they are listening to Sifuna. Kalonzo, he's a senior counsel in Kenya, has played a lot in Kenya. And when they unite together, you know, there's also tribal now based thing. Like now, Sifuna is a Luya. From Luya community.
On the western side,
And then from western side. And then Nani is from the Kamba side, Kalonzo. These two communities are coming together. Politically is alarming. And it might also bring a lot of problem to the same regime.
The same regime.
Yeah.
So the things is that the leaders coming together pose a threat to Kenya Kwanza.
To Kenya Kwanza.
That's
the fact.
But again, from how you're both speaking, it's almost like we are still in the tribal politics in terms of this leader and this leader, so we'll vote for them because they're coming from our side. You know, because that's how Kenya has been for the longest time. So Raila has always had numbers in Nyanza, Western region. We know Uhuru has had his voice in the central region. We know if we're talking about Wetangula, and you know, so they usually align according to the regions that they are coming from. We know the president, you know, from the Rift Valley side and all that. But with the current generation, what Gen Z are saying is that they're not tribal. But again, you have said, you know, from how the conversation is like, it's like we are still in that. So is it still the case? Let me start with you, David, because you said I coming from the central region and that does not really affect me. So what do you say about it?
All right. It's true we've been fighting these tribal politics from the minute go. But now, this is something that cannot end, but can be mitigated. Because you'll always try your best to support someone from home. Because it's like a family. You can't have your brother selling some mandazi somewhere, and you are there preferring a different vendor. You'll always prefer that one that comes from home. So, it's true, we are fighting the tribal politics. But it will always remain that they will always take control. Like you'll always feel triggered and thrilled supporting someone from home.
All right. Okay. What about you, Patrick?
Gen Z.
What do you say about it?
Gen Z is leaderless, tribeless. Gen Z is leaderless and tribeless. And we are not, okay, from my own perspective, I don't represent Gen Z. I represent myself.
Okay.
Take that. I'm not a leader of Gen Z. I'm just Patrick the monk. So I talk from my own perspective. So what I mean is, even the Gen Z look on the person who is competent. You remember that this politics is just a history. If you look at the when Kenya Kwanza regime got into government, when the retired president was giving a speech, he said that his preferred candidate was Raila, but it will allow Ruto to lead. But the preferred candidate was Raila, meaning he knew that was the best person. And now we realize that people were starting crying later on, trying to talk to Raila to help the country. This is a person who came to you to vote for. You never voted. After voting for this other person, now you come for him to support. So what I'm trying to say is that even the Gen Z, when they're saying they are leaderless, that's a fact, they are tribeless, but there must be a person to lead by the end of the day. Because 2027 is just 2 years' time, 1 year time, and then people will be voting. Who will be voting? So, yeah.
Don't you think that this particular generation, not just Gen Z, but even millennials, would want to see a fresh face, like someone in the political sector that has not been there before, or has been there, but has not, a young person take the leadership position, someone who's not Raila Odinga, someone who's not Ruto, someone who's not Gachagua, someone who's not, people who have been there, just switching positions from here to there,
Gen Z has one enemy. The enemy of the Gen Z is the current regime. So we don't bothered with who will vie, but the fact is that the current regime go down. That's a fact.
So
that's my stand.
That's your stand.
Yes.
The only problem that Gen Z has
is the current regime, because they don't listen. They don't. You talk today, you talk tomorrow. They come up with their own stories, and what they're saying are rumors. Okay. So the enemy is one, the current regime.
All right. Yeah. What do you think, David?
All right.
Do you think that the enemy is one, or that the enemy is the political cousins that have been there in this space, and that the Gen Z are tired with them?
All right. Personally, I'll speak as a Gen Z. It will be quite a relief to hear that the current government is out. And prospectively, thinking as a Gen Z, that is the greatest fact with all the Gen Zs, because you saw them early last year. They came out in numbers just to express their freedom of speech, and they were many. They were also being backed by others from the online space, just to show that this is their direction, and their direction is very different from the current government's direction. So any direction away from the current government is a direction they would really maybe follow.
Okay.
Yeah.
Quite interesting. If you're a Gen Z up there, tell us, what do you think is your perspective as a Gen Z? Is the current regime the problem, or is the whole political space that is the problem itself? So now, speaking of which, because you have both agreed that it's the current regime that's a problem, what if the current regime, as the president has continuously been saying, and even the deputy president, that they only needed some time? I know that the deputy president said that the first 2 years the president was setting some things in place, and he gave an example. He tried to use an example of how our former late president Kibaki started off, and when he started, he was not quite popular with people. He had to make a lot of changes to save the economy, and after that the people loved him, and they actually wanted him to get to the second term, and they give him a second term. So he was saying that the president, as much as he's been unpopular, it will get to a point where he will transform the economy to a point that the people themselves will be calling him and begging him to vie again for the presidency. So do you think this is the case, if indeed the president were to change some things this year, or maybe next year, before 2027? Do you think that the people will still vote him in if he changes? Will he become popular in a good way now?
Stefan,
Patrick.
That is politics. That is politics. Because we cannot say that time. When was the election? That was in 2022. We are in 2025. What are these things that has been done, that has been put in place that are being said. Recently, I was going through social media and I saw somebody from the other side, Sigoi or other things, was saying that there is no employment even to the homeland. Yeah. So we are wondering this kind of programs. For example, I'm a student. We must be realistic on the, like, for example, there's new funding model thing. You know, as I speak now, even help for students has not been released. Students are suffering here, just here in their homes. They are not eating anything. The government is waiting for us to start demonstration and start threatening us of abduction or other things or what. But now when we are quiet so that they release that help, they don't really. They give us time. What is that time and this thing was allocated? So there is no amount of time. That is politics that they are trying to maneuver so that they are given the second term to continue deteriorating the economy and the system and the political right of Kenyan. As a student, I stand to say no, there's no matter of time. If there's a time, they tell us what they have done. If not rumors.
Okay.
Yes.
So if indeed they did something that can be seen, a transformation happened this year, would you vote them in?
If that is very tangible, we are not self-interested. We are interested in our country. So if they do something that can be seen, tangible, not rumors, because the architect of this kind of tension in the country, the manufacturer, the producer of this tension is the Kenya regime, is the Kenya Kwanza regime.
Okay.
Because people see you are in a position to get something, but now you can't. You are a journalist, yeah? You people, you collect information, move around these universities in Kenya, see how students are really struggling. And like, because I joined in 2020 when Nani was the president, when Uhuru Kenyatta was the president, this kind of struggling was not there. Why now?
Okay,
Yeah.
all right. What do you think about it, David? If you were to give an advice to the president, someone from Kenya Kwanza, you know, listening in, what can they do to be on the positive side
All
of
right.
the people?
They've always tried to say that they are still planning. You know, what I say is, personally, if I am vying for some seat somewhere, I will plan ahead before I get to that seat. I will plan ahead of the things that I want to do and change. And when I get into that seat, I do now the adjustments, the necessary adjustments. So these people have not planned ahead. Let's talk of the Kibaki government. The government of Kibaki provided free primary education. We came to the Uhuru government. It provided free primary and secondary education. Let's come now to the government of Ruto. It's adding on top some extra fee on the education thing. Let's talk of the new funding model. Personally, I have a debt of more than 140,000 in the university. And as we continue with the years, it will continue escalating to a higher amount, which I don't know how it will get paid. So personally, I cannot support the government because it has not done something good to me. You know, they are saying they are planning, but now, do you plan forever? Like, we are left with 2 years. So you are planning yourself in 3 years to do something in 2 years. So just as my colleague has said, if they do something tangible for the good of Kenya, not just to furnish their name for the upcoming elections, because we are into detail, we are wise enough to be able to detect when such happens. If they do something tangible, then we ought to get them back there, because we are interested in service. We are not interested in politics. We are not interested in Ruto and where he comes from. That is his own benefits or anything. As we are interested in him delivering the leadership that he promised us. You've heard from the governor, Sakaja, the governor of Nairobi. He said that the reason why you're finding critics all over the media, all over the social media about Ruto, it is because they believe that Ruto is a good leader, a leader who can deliver. And that faith that we had when voting him in is what now we are suffering from, because we believe that he can deliver, yet he is not delivering. That is why we have that pressure. Okay. If he can just sit back, leave about the politics and everything else and work for Kenyans, yeah? You know, his work is not just shuffling the cabinet. His work is not just talking and criticizing other leaders who are against him on press. No, his work is delivering to us. Make the roads tarmacked, build schools, paint the hostels, make education in the university quite pleasing, like make the students enjoy the study, make their future bright. You know, when you think of this current government, the bright future that you had in mind is tarnished, because everything that brings about a bright future is being brought down. The education sector, which is they say that education is the key to success. Now if the key has been destroyed, where on earth will we get to success? So the thing that Ruto should do is deliver to us. We believe that he can deliver, and that belief, let him bring it into action.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. So he should deliver, and you know, the young people are tired of promises that are not really fruitful or cannot be seen. And as we come to a close on this conversation, you have mentioned such a critical thing, you know, that the people have been criticizing the regime, especially the president, on social media. We have seen cartoonists coming up with things that depict the president in a very bad way. You know, some have put him in a casket, you know, which is quite something, and not really to be encouraged, you know, and different things. But again, people are saying that that's just their way of expressing themselves. But again, and now people are also saying that that's probably the reason for the abductions, which the government has distanced itself from, that they're not the ones abducting the people that have been abducted. So what do you think? What do you think of this situation? How can that be contained? Let me start with you, Patrick.
One of the things is, these people who are drawing, they are showing that's a talent. People are showing their talent on what they are doing. So if somebody in a position to draw somebody in the casket, why do you abduct that person? Why do you? Because as a leader, you should be criticized. Because if you don't criticize, you'll never know where you go wrong.
But to what extent do you think there's a limit, you know, painting someone in a casket? If you yourself were to be done for that,
that's a picture.
Would you be okay with
okay,
that
because that's
yourself?
a drawing. If you draw me in a casket, what does that cause? Is that death? You know, some people want to make this Kenya to go back where we learned in the history it was. Because if you people talk about the freedom of expression, the Constitution does not specify which kind of expression that person should do. So if somebody has drawn somebody, what's that? Why are you complicating issues?
But doesn't the freedom of expression stop where the other person's rights begin? Because they usually say your rights stop where the other person's
when
begin.
These people came to street, Stephanie, they were killed. They were arrested. They were beaten. So they fear to come to the street. Now they are walking from a distance place. And now you are going back also when they are in the distance place. You're trying now to also to abduct them. Which kind of regime we have? Because tulikuja street, Gen Z walikuwa hapa street. And you saw these pictures, you are a journalist, you have those information, you keep them. How people were killed even next to the parliament. A very young man who has a future is being killed. They are being beaten, they are being frustrated. A number of them, you cannot even tell where they are. You saw the families crying all over, but they don't see their loved ones. And then you are telling me these people now, they have distanced themselves from this physical demonstration. Then now they are demonstrating online using their talent of drawing and their talent of their art skills.
So you're saying that's a form of demonstration?
That's a form of demonstration. They are expressing their feelings. They don't want this government. The government is making people to feel like you are not in your country.
Right.
Because I should be walking very freely in Kenya. I should be doing things freely. But now the government is making that if you post, you look to your back, you seeing, is there anybody seeing me? What's that? I'm allowed to express myself.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how can Devi, in a short way, how can these abductions be stopped?
All right. Personally, right now as a young person, I'm unemployed. And a lot of us are unemployed. And whenever a person is idle, what comes into the mind is not something very constructive. And you know that maybe to mitigate all such kinds of matters, employ these Kenyans, yeah? You know, you have connections in the US, all over the countries. He's vocal in East Africa. He's vocal in the Africa itself. He's vocal almost everywhere. Look for job opportunities for these people, and you will not see them wasting time in throwing you in caskets. You know, there's one thing that the President Magufuli, the late, he so rest in peace, he said that, tusiogope kufa, because I myself will die. And the fact that I've been drawn in some casket does not mean that I'm dead. Yeah, maybe it is trying to mean that my government is not delivering to the people, so it's like my government is dead. And you know, such compliments, you should take them positively. Take them to build yourself. If the people mean that the government is dead, then resurrect the government. Deliver to the people. And that is how it can be mitigated. Instead of abducting them. You know, right now, I'll think of expressing myself, and I'll think of some Subaru somewhere waiting for me outside there. And so I will fear. But is that the way to go? It's not the best idea to follow. Right. The best idea is make these people very busy. Provide them job opportunities. Let them be able to provide for their family. Else, this will continue. Okay. It is not ending today nor tomorrow.
Okay, but the abductions need to be stopped.
They need to be stopped with immediate effect.
All right.
Yeah.
Now, before you close, the new funding model you have, understandably so, you're in the university, so you understand it better and how that's affecting you. How is that really affecting you for someone who doesn't even understand how that model really operates? Tell us about it and what needs to be done for the university students, Patrick.
Thank you. One, the new funding model was good idea when it was implemented correctly. But there's a problem in the new funding model. One, you know, you need not to expose the vulnerability of an individual. These people came with something called banding. Now there's band 1, band 2, band 3, band 4, band 5. And you get that people who doesn't work, I have an evidence, that is something that I know. I'm in the university, I'm a student leader. I get these things. You get that somebody is in band 5, yet the parent doesn't have anything. But somebody is in band 2 and the parents are working. But in the social media, in the address that the banding is talking about, the number of salary, the amount of salary we receive, even when you are applying, they are saying that indicate the salary of the parent. See, you 120 to what is that band? That's a lie. People, that thing is done like, it's some like spinning. That you just spin and then where your name lies, that's the band you receive. And what has this cost to student? You know, the university system is not like that one of high school, where the parent can go and plead for the head teacher to allow you sit for exam. This is a system where if you don't pay fee, you cannot register units. If you don't register unit, you cannot do exam. So the government failed to disburse this amount of money to the university. So as a result, the student will not do exam. The student, many of the students has been deferred because of this. And it has really affected. And then to make it worse now, is that even now, they introduced that new funding model and the help iko hapo ndani, and that help itself is not being disbursed. There are people, even their portal are not updated up to now. They are still in semester 1. People are going to semester 2, but they are not updated. They've not, and from January up to, and you understand January with students, they have nothing to eat. They have no fee. Like in the University of Nairobi, we are doing exam. Some of them cannot do exam because of these things. Some of them are frustrated and now can defer because you cannot do exam when you are hungry.
Okay.
And some of them are not coming from Nairobi. Imagine somebody from Garissa side, northeastern part, where doesn't have any relative in Nairobi. Only depend on that amount of help to be used to help themselves. So that thing, if it is implemented, one, to scrap band 5 and band 4. In fact, even band 3, because we only have 2 bands. Band 1 and band 2. Secondly, not exposed that this is band 1 or band 2. Just indicate in the portal the fee the person should pay. There's no need of exposing that you're in band 1 and band 2. Why do you tell, if I'm a needy, I know I'm needy. Why should you tell me that I'm needy?
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So that's the solution that you're proposing, that they do away with the band 3 to 5 and they just leave band 1 and 2 and
Yes.
do not expose which band one person the person belongs to.
Yes.
I have a
All
contrary
right.
opinion.
So you have, okay, what is your contrary opinion, David?
All right. When I was in high school and also the primary school, we used to put on uniform. And uniform was put on by a student who has come from a very well family and also from a student who has come from a very less privileged family. You know, that uniform was meant to equalize us. So there will be no any form of discrimination. Maybe when you walk together, there is no money pasted on your face that this is my net worth or this is my family's net worth, because the uniform has equalized you. Let's talk now of the funding model and try to link the two. You know, we had the old funding model, and you know, things used to work with it. And I guess that was the best idea that was implemented, the old funding model. There is no banding of people. Why do you have to put people in classes? Yeah, there is this class of the poor, then there is this class of the rich. You know, that is where we go wrong. Like, we've talked of the uniform. It equalized everyone. So there was no way that you could be able maybe to determine whether someone has come from an able family or not. Now you see, this now thing is also bringing us into some form of bondage. Like, for example, I'll speak with the statistics of my own. Like, let's talk of the help that I'm usually given. I'm usually given a loan of 130,000.
And that's
That
from
is-
HELB.
Yeah, that is from HELB. And that is annually. At the end of my 4 years, that will be 130 times 2. That is 520,000. That is more than 500,000. And do you know what are the terms of a loan?
You
It
have to-
increases with some interest.
Yeah.
And I don't know the time that I'll be able to fully pay the loan. So you don't know, maybe in the next 30 years, I'll still be in the bondage of the government. And you know, that is how like Kenya is. We are in bondage of debts in China, all over the countries. And now we are used as testing kits for these countries, you know, like we will remain inferior to them. If they want to demand something from us, they will always get it because they have the loan as a bargaining power. You know, also, to me, to the government, they will always have that loan as a bargaining power to me. They can take me to whatever direction they want. So I remain, what do we call it, a servant, in bondage, a slave of that loan that I've procured. But you know, in the past, the old funding model, you realize that it's true there was some loan, but the loan was around 25,000 annually. At the end of it all, that is 100K. 100K, maybe with good fortune, I can get a job that will give me 100K per month. How many months will it take me for me to fully pay the loan? Maybe even one, which will not put me in some bondage of some way that I'll remain a slave of the government.
Okay, so what you're saying is that the help loan that is being given is
Yeah.
too high. You
Too
prefer
high. Yeah.
that it goes low.
What I prefer is they scrap the new funding model
Okay.
and go back to the old funding model. You know, let me tell you, the best idea is not to bring in new ideas. The best idea is to work with what that is there and make it better. You know,
Okay.
Ruto came into the government and he thought that all the ideas that he had in mind, which were very new and fresh, could be the one that will make the country work out. But have they? They haven't. From everywhere. And Denyoro just said the other day that when you want to determine that a country is stable, you'll hear it from the citizens. If you want to determine that the economy of a country is stable, you will hear it from the citizens.
themselves.
What are we hearing from the citizens? The country is at a critical condition. And now, you cannot now pretend that everything is working. You see, there is that thing of SHA, and you know, it's true, I'm getting away from the topic, but all are the things for us to discuss because they affect us. There is that nurse complaining of this and that, then all of a sudden, they get abducted. You know, like, you will not complain of things that are not going well in the government. I wonder the kind of advisors that our great president have besides him. Because I remember, we talk of King Solomon. When he got into power, he made sure that the advisors that were his dads, that is King David, he brought them close to him. Because he had overseen that, David's government flourished. And he believed that with those kind of advisors, my government may also flourish.
All right.
Now, we saw that the government of Uhuru, it's true it had some several deaths here and there, but it flourished. Without the government of Uhuru, we will not have things like the Uhuru Highway, what do we call it? This express highway, which is very assistant in the government, like you can maneuver from here to Mombasa without some constraint in traffic. And also, for the first time I saw that some tarmac ilikuja hadi kwetu hapo nje with the government of Uhuru. My high school was a success. Like, I enjoyed the rain. I could, my parent could not suffer in fee payment because education was almost free.
Right.
But now what is happening right now? We are engaging in a lot of debts, but now the debts are not doing anything. You know, we might even have the debts, but what is being done with it? So what I'm saying is, let them scrap the new funding model. Students are suffering. Just as my fellow here has said, that students are sleeping in hostels, hungry. You know, we as leaders are who get the most direct impact. You are there, someone comes into your DM, requests for your help because they cannot manage on their own. And you know, sometimes it becomes something that we cannot handle because you cannot handle 50 students.
Alone.
Maybe yourself, you're also needy.
You also need...
Yeah, and also they expect that you shouldn't be needy because they are needy and they need your help. Now you see, like, we are all suffering. And this is because of this kind of government.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, otherwise, soon enough, if they don't release that help, we will be on details and we will pinch them. And we are very good in that.
Okay, I don't know what by pinching them you mean. I'm assuming that would be some demonstration or something of a sort from the university students. Oh, that's quite something. You have talked at length about what should be done. You've pointed out at SHA and everything else. But what about campus politics? I know you're having elections coming up soon. So maybe you can tell us about it, Patrick, a little bit about that. And I know you're also vying for a position. I don't know if David, are you vying for a position? You are both. Okay, all right. So you'll tell us what you're vying for and how, you know, the political space in campus is. Because just to give context about campus politics, how much does it inform the national politics, or how does it influence national politics, campus politics, so that we know the gravity of it? Okay,
to start with, campus politics is a very nice thing, and it's very educative, and is a kind of a mentorship point for future leaders. Personally, I joined the university in 2020, and that's when I entered into campus politics. I have served in several capacities, and I've realized that the campus politics is or the campus leadership, because we talk about politics, is the leadership part, because the constitution brought it in a way that you cannot be a leader without elected, and you can't be elected without politics. So is that politics that bring you to be elected to become a leader?
They tied together, okay.
Yeah. So one of the things that I'm saying, that campus politics is very difficult as compared to national politics. One is the opponent you are staying within in the same jurisdictions. Opponent wako mnaishi naye kwa hall moja, and he knows your room. Yeah, and this is politics.
This is politics.
This is politics. And if you can maneuver there, that you safely maneuver in campus politics, then the national politics become very simple. Right. Secondly, campus politics helps students to understand how to deal with individuals. Because when you get into politics, for example, I've been a leader. When you are a leader, you help everyone. But you realize that the time now you are going for seeking for that opposition again, then the same person you are helping is opposing you. Then later on, when you get into the same position, the person will come to you, and you should have a heart of forgiving and accepting him back. So that's what the campus politics help people to be nurtured to be leaders. And that's why sometimes I really wonder how these national leaders, some of them are, to be specific, the Kenya Kwanza regime. Because you need to forgive someone. Why do you abduct? If you are through campus politics, you cannot abduct somebody. Because you are with that person in the same hostel. This person alikupinga, like for example, when I was vying for Onu's chair, not everyone supported me. But when now I get to power, I had to serve everyone. Then I need to forgive them. So it's a very educative sector.
Okay.
And personally, currently I'm an aspirant, a contender. I'm vying for governor, Chiromo campus.
All right.
Yeah, you know, in the University of Nairobi, we have 13 faculties that make the University of Nairobi. So one of them is Chiromo campus, the home of scientists. So I'm vying for governor. And the students in the Chiromo campus, they know my capability. I've been with them, and I've helped them a lot.
Okay.
They know.
What, as a governor, what would be expected of you?
As a governor, you are the representative of campus. You represent the campus. And you are in charge on the academic and social welfare of the student within the faculty. So you are expected to have a team of 7 people, tribal-based, departmental-based, and people with disability represented. And now these team people, you become their chairperson. So the chairperson is what we call the governor.
Right.
So after that election is these governors that are now going to elect the president of the university.
All right.
Yeah, so I'm going to be a governor.
The people under you, the 7 people under you, what are their titles?
Okay, we in 7 people we have the vice chairperson, that is the deputy governor. We have the treasurer, we have the secretary general, we have the person with disability representative, and then we have the sport representative.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
an international representative. Yeah, to represent the international student within the faculty.
All right.
Yeah.
So you are an aspirant governor, aspirant for Chiromo campus.
Yeah, the UNSA, they call University of Nairobi Student Association. Yeah.
University of Nairobi Students Association,
Yeah.
UNSA. Okay, David, what are you vying for?
All right. Like a child that must be born in the fullness of time. I'll keep that confidential at the moment.
Okay.
A time will come, yeah? Yeah, but personally for me, I believe in service. Service is what that fuels me towards playing politics. You know, as my colleague has just said, that politics and leadership is linked. You have to play politics in order to lead, in order to become a leader, and that is where now you serve the people.
Okay.
All right. Much endorsed in student service. You know, it's true, you find that lack of information make a lot of students suffer. And if someone rises up and always feeds the students with the necessary information, it will keep the students safe from all kinds of suffering when they are in school. And that is where I come in. You know, like whenever a student comes to me requesting for any form of help, I believe that no matter what kind of help they want, I should be there and make sure that I accomplish their wishes. Because as a leader, there is something we call that being believed in. Before that student breaks that shyness and comes to you for some help or request, they believe that they will either get help or not. But they most probably they believe that they'll get help.
They'll get help from
What
you.
if now a student comes to me with that in mind that they will get help, then they get frustrated. You know, that will not be leadership that I'll be portraying. So I ensure that I engage with all kinds of personnel who will maybe assist that student to that capacity of help that they need.